Hey guys, Justin here of YugaTech, and this time we're listing down all the top smartphones under 20,000 pesos. So either if you're on the lookout for an upgrade for 2021 or you're still searching for a special gift during this holiday season, then we got you. But before we begin, do note that the smartphones in this list are only those that were officially launched in the Philippines in 2020. Alright, let's begin. First on our list is the Vivo V20. This phone is powered with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G chip, and it has a 44-megapixel single front camera. Similar to the Pro model, it has a 4000 mAh battery with 33 watts wired fast charging. It also has 8GB of RAM, 128GB of internal storage, an in-display fingerprint scanner, and triple rear cameras. Now secondly, we have the Samsung Galaxy M51. Interestingly, this phone packs a massive 7000 mAh battery, a Snapdragon 730G processor, a Super AMOLED Plus display, and a good set of cameras. It's a well-rounded device that's perfect for people who use a phone rather than flaunt it. On the third spot, we have the Xiaomi Mi 10T 5G. As a 5G-ready mid-range phone, the Mi 10T is equipped with specs that don't disappoint. That includes a large 6.67-inch Full HD Plus 144Hz adaptive sync display, a 5000 mAh battery with 33 watts fast charging, a Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 processor that's paired with an Adreno 650 GPU, 6GB of RAM, and 128GB of internal storage. Up next, there's the OPPO Reno4. This phone offers a premium design, a 6.4-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display, a 4050 mAh battery with support for VOOC 4.0 fast charging, quad rear cameras, and a headphone jack. It also packs a Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G chip, 8GB of RAM, and 128GB of internal storage with micro SD card support for up to 256GB. On to the fifth, we have the Huawei Nova 7 SE 5G. It's 6,000 pesos less than its big brother, the Nova 7, and this phone sports a 6.5-inch Full HD Plus IPS display with HDR10 support, a decent 4000 mAh battery with 40 watts supercharge, quad rear cameras, and a headphone jack. It's powered by a Huawei Kirin A20 5G processor with a Mali G57 GPU, 8GB of RAM, and 128GB of internal storage. For number 6, we have the Realme 7 Pro. One of this phone's selling points is its 65 watts super dart fast charging, which is impressive. It also has a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display, quad rear cameras, and reliable performance with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G octa-core processor. For the 7th spot, we have another one from Samsung, the Galaxy A51. This phone is one of Samsung's best-selling mid-range smartphones. It has a 6.5-inch Super AMOLED Infinity O display, One UI 2.0 that's based on Android 10, an Exynos 9611 chipset coupled with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. Next up, if you're looking for an affordable 5G-capable smartphone, take a look at the Moto G 5G Plus. It has a 6.7-inch Full HD Plus display with a 90Hz refresh rate option, and for internals, it's equipped with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 765 chip, 8GB of RAM, and 128GB of storage. This phone also has quad rear cameras, 5G connectivity, and a hefty 5000 mAh battery. On number 9 for Xiaomi fans, we have the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Lite. This one sports a 6.47-inch 3D curved AMOLED screen, and under the hood, it packs a Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G processor, an Adreno 618 GPU, 8GB of RAM, and 128GB of internal storage. The Mi Note 10 Lite also has a quad rear camera setup and a massive 5260 mAh battery with 30 watts fast charging. Now for number 10, we have the OPPO Reno3. This phone is a dependable daily driver that sports a 6.4-inch Full HD Plus OLED display and quad rear cameras. Under the hood, it has a MediaTek Helio P90 octa-core CPU that's paired with a PowerVR GM9446 GPU, 8GB of RAM, and 128GB of storage that's expandable up to 256GB via micro SD card. Up next, we have the Samsung Galaxy A31. This phone has a 6.4-inch Full HD Plus Super AMOLED display and quad rear cameras as well. Performance-wise, it has a MediaTek Helio P65 chip paired up with 6GB of RAM and 128GB of internal storage. Other features include a large 5000 mAh battery with 15 watts fast charging support, a fingerprint sensor, a 3.5mm audio jack, and an FM radio. Moving on, we have one from Vivo, which is the V19 Neo. This phone has a premium glass back and front finish and fairly minimalist design aesthetics. Up front, the Vivo V19 Neo has a 6.44-inch Full HD Plus Super AMOLED Ultra O display and a 32-megapixel front-facing camera. Powering this device is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 675 processor with an Adreno 612 GPU, 8GB of RAM, and 128GB of internal storage with a dedicated micro SD card slot. It also has a 4500 mAh battery with support for dual-engine fast charge. Another one from Vivo is the Vivo V20 SE. This phone is the most affordable version of Vivo's latest mid-range lineup. Compared to the rest of its siblings, the V20 SE is equipped with a lower Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 processor, triple rear cameras, and a 4100 mAh battery with 33 watts fast charging. It comes with the same configuration as the Vivo V20 Pro and V20. That's 8GB of RAM and 128GB of internal storage. For the 14th spot, there's the Realme 6 Pro. This phone offers a 6.6-inch Full HD Plus 90Hz full-screen display protected by a Corning Gorilla Glass 5. It's got a quad-rear camera setup, a dual front-facing camera, a 4300 mAh battery with 30 watts flash charge, and of course, a 3.5mm audio jack. Down to the 15th spot, there's the Realme 7. This phone proves that it's one for gaming and a few more. It packs a 6.5-inch Full HD Plus 90Hz display, a MediaTek Helio G95 chip that's paired with a Mali G76 MC4 GPU, 8GB of RAM, and 128GB UFS 2.1 internal storage. For number 16, if you want excellent specs at a very competitive price tag, the Huawei Nova 7i is one to check out. It features a 6.4-inch display and runs on a Kirin 810 chipset that's paired with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. It also has quad-rear cameras and a 4200 mAh battery with 40 watts fast charging support. Next, we have the OPPO A92. This phone is equipped with a massive 5000 mAh battery with support for 18 watts fast charging. It's got a massive 6.5-inch Full HD Plus display, a Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 and an Adreno 610 GPU with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of internal storage. On number 18, we have a phone with a whopping 6000 mAh battery. I'm talking about the Samsung Galaxy M31. This one can easily last you through more than 2 days under moderate usage. And being Samsung, it sports a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display, quad-rear cameras, an Exynos 9611 chipset, 6GB of RAM, and 128GB of storage. Next up, we got the Huawei Y8P. This one is composed of a 6.3-inch OLED display, triple rear cameras, and a 4000 mAh battery. It's packed with a Kirin 710F processor coupled with a Mali G51 MP4 GPU, 6GB of RAM, and 128GB of internal storage. For the 20th spot, there's the Infinix Zero 8. Just for under 13,000 pesos, this phone offers a 6.85-inch display with 90Hz refresh rate, a MediaTek Helio G90T processor, 8GB of RAM, 128GB of storage, quad rear cameras, and a 4500 mAh battery with 33 watts wired fast charging. Moving on, we have another one from Huawei, the Huawei Y9s. This phone sports a large 6.59-inch full-view display, a 4000 mAh battery, a Kirin 710F chip, 6GB of RAM, 128GB of storage, and triple rear cameras. Now we're on the 22nd, and this is the OPPO A52. This one sports a 6.5-inch Full HD Plus display, a hefty 5000 mAh battery, and a Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 chipset that's paired with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. It features a 3D curved body, dual stereo speakers with high-res audio, and a side-mounted fingerprint scanner. Next up, we have the toned-down version of the Realme 6 Pro, which is the Realme 6. Now, this phone is equipped with a 6.5-inch 90Hz refresh rate display, a MediaTek Helio G90T CPU, a Mali G76 MC4 GPU, and up to 8GB of RAM. And another one from Realme, we got the Realme 7i. This one is a strong contender for sporting a 6.5-inch HD Plus display with a 90Hz refresh rate option, and it also has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 662 chip, up to 8GB of RAM, up to 128GB of storage, quad rear cameras, and a large 5000 mAh battery. On the 25th spot, we have the Samsung Galaxy A51s. This phone features a 6.5-inch HD Plus display, an undisclosed 2GHz octa-core CPU that's paired with 3GB of RAM and 32GB of internal storage. It has quad-rear cameras and a 13-megapixel front camera housed in Samsung's Infinity O module. Up next, another bang-for-your-buck smartphone from Xiaomi is the Redmi Note 9 Pro. It has a 6.67-inch IPS LCD screen, a Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G, a whopping 5020 mAh battery with 30 watts fast charging, and quad-rear cameras. For number 27, we have a crowd favorite, the POCO X3 NFC. This one is a premium mid-range smartphone as it packs powerful specs for a price that's a little bit over 10,000 pesos. We're talking about a 6.67-inch Full HD Plus display with a 120Hz refresh rate, then it has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 732G processor, 6GB of RAM, and up to 128GB of storage. It also has quad-rear cameras and a 5160 mAh battery. It's a pretty good deal. And finally, down to our last one, we have another one from Xiaomi, the Redmi Note 9s. This phone is packing some pretty good specs for its price. It has a large 6.67-inch Full HD Plus screen, a Qualcomm Snapdragon 720G CPU, Adreno 618 GPU, and a large 5020 mAh battery with an 18 watts fast charge. And that's it, guys. That was quite a long list, but we do hope we helped you pick the right smartphone to buy. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to our channel for more content, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads, and be sure to visit YugaTech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. Once again, this is Justin, and don't forget to wash your hands and stay at home.